All right, about to get started on the Advent of Code 2020 Day 2 puzzles. We're just a couple minutes from those going live. I could probably explain while we're here. I was confused about pending specs last time. XIT skips specs even though it says they're pending. I don't know why that is, and I kind of want to go investigate that. However, if you mark test it pending by like adding the pending symbol or passing pending with an explanation or calling pending inside them, those specs are still run and they will fail if they pass. And it'll yell at you that whatever that behavior was fixed in all capital letters. So my issue was just using XIT and believing it that the pending specs were actually pending. I guess it's skipped but pending, or I don't know. Gotta say, as much as I like a lot of things about our spec, there are things I don't like. Oh, my audios or my music has died. I've been trying to use this pretzel thing for stream friendly music, but I think maybe with my CPU pinned it doesn't work good. I don't really know. I think it's like an Electron app or something. All right, get rid of this. There we go. Suspect that the chat is not working. Chat, why are you not working? Well, that's a problem for another day. Let's get into the puzzle. Your flight departs in a few days from the coastal airport. The easiest way down to the coast from here is via toboggan. The shopkeeper at the North Pole toboggan rental shop is having a bad day. Something's wrong with our computers. We can't log in. You ask if you can take a look. Their password database seems to be a little corrupted. Some of the passwords wouldn't have been allowed by the official toboggan corporate policy that was in effect when they were chosen. To try to debug the problem, they have created a list, your puzzle input, of passwords according to the corrupted database, and corporate policy when the password was set. For example, suppose you have the following list. Each line gives the password policy and then the password. The password policy indicates the lowest and highest number of times a given letter must appear for the password to be valid. For example, 1 to 3A means that the password must contain A at least one time and at most 3 times. In the example above, 2 passwords are valid. The middle password, CDFG, is not. It contains no instance of B, but needs at least 1. The first and third passwords are valid. They contain 1A or 9C, both within the limits of their respective policies. How many passwords are valid, according to their policies? Well, let's have a taste of this and find out. I put it on the other side so I don't do the thing where I reach for my mouse and smack things. I used to have an ergonomic mouse that was really tall, and that causes me to frequently reach too far, too high, too hard, and smash things. Though when I got the mouse itself, because it was tall, I would just smash it all the time. Right, day 2, cool. Day 2. Excellent. And let's take a little look at day 2's input. Would not describe these as good passwords that I would want to use, but they are passwords. Excellent. Now we have a test input. Excellent. Let us take this test input. Excuse me, computer. There we go. Sure. And it calculates the, I don't know, it does the test input, right? Sure. And we have we're expecting 2. It expect subject to equal 2. Yes, Worm, we're going to write down every single, that happened at a, back at Stumbolt, essentially. We did a little puzzle day once, and one team tried to do it without using computers, and they succeeded, but only because they Googled and found the answer, which was disqualifying for them. So I bet we can make this a pending test, and it will do what we expect. Yes, that committed that change. No reason given. Excellent. So how should we tackle this? It is quite straightforward, in that we have to just do some parsing and then evaluate something relatively simple. But one of the things I want to do today is not get super, especially since we're in the easy ones, I want to try and make the most of this whole TCR thing. So I kind of want to introduce some intermediate objects and to represent these different things. So now the first piece is a range, and we have range objects in Ruby. So so that already is a help. So I'm thinking we implement some kind of object to hold the each line here. So we'll say like password, and let's just write this here. I'll describe ASC. I guess I could move these inside the namespace and save some effort here, but anyway, I'll do that later. Day 2, yes, and we're going to call it a password. And we're going to, what do we want these to have? So, I mean, I guess we really only care that they're valid, right? So let's write a failing spec, mark it as pending, and go from there. I'm thinking. So I'm going to follow like pretty standard conventions. I might write some really trash like spec descriptions and stuff because they're not super important. Everything's pretty simple here, but I am going to sort of structure these tests how I normally would. So we're going to have like a valid method, because really basically this object can encompass all the logic of figuring out whether a given line of input is valid, and then our actual part 1 is just going to be passing them all through this and asking if they're valid. We'll see if any of that sort of structure that we're adding helps in part 2. It's always sort of a crapshoot in that sense, like, oh, maybe your particular approach to the problem maps better to being modified to support the other one. Like yesterday was pretty easy, for example. To describe valid. So we'll do subject and instance valid. I guess we'll just say described class new password valid. So that seems like a reasonable API. Context when the password is valid and it is true. And let's do a second. Ooh. Let's do a second one, and the password is invalid. And we can replace our trues with falses. And then we just need to supply a example for each. Unfortunately, right below we've got those. So we'll just use the ones from the test input. This password will be, let's see, the first one is it's supposed to contain 1 to 3 A's, and it does. So let's use that. 1 to 3 A colon. Cool. And let's do the same for the 1 to 3 B, C, D, E, F, G. Excellent. Now if we mark both of these as pending, because they are not even going to come close to passing, should be able to run that. Whew. I was going to throw all my work away somehow. Some wrong thing. That's my goal is to get less scared of it throwing my work away. So cool. I'm just going to take a stab at this because it is not super complex. Let's see. Def. So we need a constructor. Takes the password. How do we want to do this? So this thing is just going to have one valid method. Let's just do some work in the constructor. For simplicity's sake, we'll say policy. Interesting. Okay. I'm having some thoughts. Now, I'm just going to reuse the variable because I don't have a good name for a line in this document. Oh, chat worked. Well, that's nice. Policy password, and we will split the password on that piece that separates the two. And we'll save that one, but the policy needs to be separated as well. This is going to be funny. I'm probably just going to keep splitting each piece off. So range and letter equals policy split on the. So this is where we're writing too much code. Yeah, we are writing too much code. And then the range itself needs to be split into a start and, I can't use end, finish. Be range.split on the, that. And then we can set the range. Excellent, Hoff. I don't actually know how to construct a range from two numbers. Ruby. I assume I can just like .new it or something if I have the, or can I actually just, I guess those are just expressions on either side, right? So I just never done that before. Like I've never, oh. Interesting. I've never done like A equals 1, B. I guess I probably have. Just, that's inclusive. Cool. Huh? Well, that's easy. Range equals start dot finish. And then dare we do this? Dare we go this far? This is too far, and it's making me feel like I should, like, I don't know, split off the policy object or something like that so I can move in slightly smaller steps. But let's try it. So it's range, so we want range dot include, and can you just call I keep doing it. Is this a thing? It is a thing. Ruby makes everything so easy. Dot include password dot count letter. Okay, typoed letter. Chat, do you think I've done it right? Do you think this will pass our test? Anyone see anything? Any silly mistakes? Any not silly mistakes? Let's do it. Oh, and there it goes. There it goes. So, one failure. 3 examples, 1 failure. Failures. Password valid is true, and it returned false. First, let's make sure that that we didn't mess up the test. Okay, well. Interesting. I don't know what the error was. Intriguing. All right, well, let's move in smaller steps. I'm gonna say, let's make policy. I don't know a ton about TCR. I don't know what it's like, you know, when you've done TDD, or at least you use test to drive your stuff, your development a lot, in some capacity, some sort of test first process, or even general just testing processes. You get a feel for like what your tests are telling you, but this is you know, this is too painful, this is too complicated to set up. Like those usually mean something. They're smells. I don't know what the smells in TCR mean. Like I failed, something failed. I don't know why. I guess I haven't decomposed it enough. I guess at least my life might be better if I decompose it more. Sure. I am going to make a policy class. Policy class is, what are we going to have? Probably one method called valid. I mean, that's just moving the code around. That's not making anything more helpful. Let's just make a policy class we can initialize. Let's change. So I'm just gonna say subject described class new. We are gonna pass it a range. We pass it a letter, and that's that. And then expect subject range. Oh, this is an inside of a test. Expect it as a range. Think we can make that? Oh, well, let's mark it as pending, since we know it's we can commit our pending. Okay, tests are passing. Move that. Takes a range, takes a letter. We are going to do the minimum amount of work here, so we're going to say range equals. Now we had some code. It was range. I guess we gotta parse it as a separate line. Start, finish equals range dot split on our little one of those, and start dot finish. And then def range, or all right, let's just add a reader. Use the shorthand while we're here. Cool. Well, there you go. They were strings. I forgot to convert them to integers. Well, that's, so that helped us, interestingly enough. Initialize, range, letter, equals range, split. Come on, fingers. Map 2i. And then range equals start, finish. And before I screw up and forget to append my tests, or unpend the test. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I appreciate your complete lack of faith, Warm. Cool. Okay. This object is not meaningfully useful, but it did teach us something. So we'll keep it. We'll keep it as part of our design and see where it gets. Ooh, I'm writing code without tests. It has a letter. Okay. Now we have a test for that. Now we can put that in place. And, oh, it succeeded. We made tests pass. Lovely. I think we can revisit our code that we got rid of now, which will be simpler. So there's always that. So now our password class takes a password. Let's call it a password record. There we go. Now we're doing domain-driven design, right? That's what that is. And we'll say policy definition and the password itself are equal to password record split on I do not know how to type that, and then we'll say the policy equals, we'll initialize the policy with so the splat breaks it into multiple arguments, and we're just splitting on a space. And then we can just set the password directly. We do not need to expose the password or the policy, so we'll make those private, you know? Password policy. Now we'll have a valid method that looks a lot kind of like the other one, but like, I don't know, more convoluted because we're pulling things off of a policy object. But so we'll say policy dot range dot include. I mean, I feel like this logic actually belongs on the policy, but who cares? Password dot count policy dot letter. That's an acceptable amount of code to lose right now, don't you all think? I think it's safe. I think we did it right. Oh, we did it right. Yes. Okay. Now we can get fun and see if we can pass for the test input. So we have part one. Part one is pending. Let's take a stab at using these two classes we created to actually assemble this thing. So solution, we'll say input dot splits on lines by default, right? Dot count, and each one of these is, what do we call it, a password record? Sure. And we will say password new password record valid. Boom. Oh, typo. Chat, you gotta catch me. No, I mean, you had no actual time. There's enough stream delay you couldn't have. I should have asked. Okay, well, that's cool. Dot split dot count do password record. I feel like TCR is an interesting thing to have chosen, since I'm typing on a really weird keyboard now, and thank you, John. I'm typing on a really weird keyboard, and my work is not a lot of writing code these days, so I'm still not super comfortable on it. So having to rewrite code is kind of fun. Anyway, password dot new password record dot valid. What? Just happened? Day 2 and 3 initialize. It's an initializer. Sorry, what? Being called from line 15? I feel like this should have get reset hard me, but I'm doing that. I'm resetting because I think my script failed to swallow that error, and I'll have to fix that for subsequent streams. But if I have to guess, the issue is that I forgot how these work. No, that's giving me the right result. Unless passwords can... What could be going wrong? Could have gone wrong there. So, not if you have spaces though. Got some new vibes going in here. Not if you have spaces. Don't understand what you're saying, Hoth. I use the squiggly brace, so I would expect this extra white space to be removed to pretend it doesn't exist. Oh, split shouldn't give me any new lines. Well, I do not know what the issue was, and I don't. That's a tricky thing. Is not 100% sure how to proceed on something like that. So we knew it's failing on line 15. Actually, I'm curious. Okay, so it's the input. Ah, welcome Jiggins. Jiggins gets modded. Congratulations on being a being a mod, Jiggins. Okay, so this failed on the input, on the actual input, running it, which I wish that I could. What am I looking for? Not if you have spaces. Are there ever spaces in the passwords? I don't want to actually look through all the passwords, but yeah, here I am. I'm just looking at this input, trying to see if there's something I'm missing. There's going to be a trailing new line, but that shouldn't cause any problems. Any thoughts, chat? What am I missing? What's wrong? These passwords all looked like all lowercase letters, which is something I assumed. They can't have like a colon space in them, or any spaces, I think. Okay, well, what's that code look like? Well, here it is. Well, I mean, we okay, so it did commit. Okay, and it failed. I guess it passed tests. I guess that's fair. Rescue binding.pry. Is this cheating? I don't know. I'm gonna say it's not cheating. That is. Oh, it splits on any white space. I'm being silly, aren't I? I'm being silly. Oh, perfect. Okay, so that works. So there's the issue. I have to think about what I might have done differently to try and debug that, sort of coming at this from a more TCR approach. But if we go unpend our does the test input right spec here, I think we should see a pass. Boom. All right. So let's see if 607 is actually my answer. A reminder that the answers are, everyone's inputs are different, so. Amazing. Okay, that took a little while. I have to figure out where the line is between where I want to like really try and hammer through just like driving the entire thing doing tests and how much I want to like touch pry, because I don't really know where that lands. But let's get part 2 done. While it appears you validated the passwords correctly, they don't seem to be what the official Toboggan corporate authentication system is expecting. The shopkeeper suddenly realizes that he just accidentally explained the password policy rules from his old job at the sled rental place down the street. The official Toboggan corporate policy actually works a little differently. Each policy actually describes 2 positions in the password, where 1 means the first character and 2 means the second character, and so on. Be careful, Toboggan corporate policies have no concept of index 0. Gotcha. Okay, so this is where Hoth warned us we were going to get into the off by 1 errors, and I was skeptical. I said I'm using a nice dynamic language. It's not going to happen, but here we are. Exactly one of these positions must contain the given letter. Other occurrences of the letter are irrelevant for the purposes of policy enforcement. Cool. How many passwords are valid according to the new interpretation of the policies? Yes, exactly. Let's get the off by 1s going here. Okay. So at this point, I want to make changes to my existing code to set this up, because I want to be able to parameterize the policy we're using. So I want to say, how do I want to do this? We're going to change password to accept a policy class. We are going to use that policy class right here. And we are going to pass it in right over here. This way, we can implement a second policy and reuse almost all of the code. Fail, missing keyword. Okay. Oh, policy, missing, what did I do? It's gone from my brain how I messed that up, but That's fun. Policy class. No typos, no typos. Typos mean retyping. Policy class. And maybe I should pause for a second to let chat tell me how I've messed up. Policy class, we're using the variable, and we're passing it in there. However, we have a bunch of tests that do not expect policy class to be passed in. So that is what just happened. I should have just looked at the actual output instead of just skimming past it. Sweet. I think that's the only spot we implement a policy. And we could get into doing like RSpec mocks and stuff here and whatever. Oh, brutal. Now's the thing I said I was going to fix. Unfortunately here we are not in the scope that has access to these things. For a future day, hopefully tomorrow, I will fix that so that all my tests are in the same namespace as the classes are, so that I don't have to prefix them with so much junk in the tests. Okay, so changed it in the solution. I've implemented it correctly in the password itself. I don't need to prefix. Yes, Jiggins. It is teaching me to move in smaller and smaller steps. We are calling it the instantiating one there. I think that's the only place. Let's look at our specs and actually look at what we're doing. Initialize constant policy. That is on the 2. Okay, so those are the only 2 specs that failed. So I would expect them to pass now. Whew. Okay, code's still there. We did a refactor. We did a refactor doing the TCR. Exciting. And now I am going to move this to a method. Now, for those who were here last night, you may recall that my part 2s inherit from my part 1s. So, does it tell us what the result is for the given the same ones as last time? Valid, invalid, invalid. So we can first get down here. It works for the test input. We know it doesn't currently work for the test input, so we'll say we'll mark that as pending. Subject equal 1. Perfect. That committed. So now we have a pending test we can work from, but we need a different policy here. We're going to say we're going to call this one policy 2, using nice descriptive names, names that would not ever get through code review, and. Oh, oh, shoot. Right, because I didn't put the logic in the policy. Come on, chat. You got to help me out on this stuff. Or I got to explain where I'm going. One of the two. You be the judge, chat. Right, because this logic is here. That's fun. I mean, we admitted that the policy, there's no point in parameterizing the policy thing. It doesn't do anything. I said it should if I were designing this good, and then I just kept going. Okay, so, all right, I'm going to also, as a heads up, I'm stopping at 10 on these, if 10 Pacific, if I have not yet solved them, and I I may solve them off stream or start early the next day. But I'm a person who gets up early in the morning, so we're not staying up past 10. Okay, what's the smartest thing to do here? I mean, the policy class doesn't even exist for a reason right now. I guess to parse the stuff. That refactoring I did does nothing for me though. I really want to parameterize this class and maybe like inherit from the other one or something. Sure. Let's do that. So let's do that refactoring. We're just going to leave the other junk there. So that should still work. Sick. We are good to go. And then we want to implement a new password class that has a different logic. Just going to toss this right here and call it password2. I've massacred the API of passing in this parameterized policy class for no reason. Now, what's a valid one? A valid one is the first one. The first one was already valid. I got to use a different test for the second one, for the invalid one, because my test would still pass for my test would still pass without me implementing the right logic right now. So we don't want that. Okay. This is good, and we will mark this as pending, and we will only marking the one as pending intentionally because I'm not going to change. We're going to make password2 inherit from password and just run the specs. Whew. Okay, sick. We're still doing good. Oh, and while we're here, before I forget, let's start running part 2 when I do things. Yeah, solution 0, cool. Okay. We just need to implement a new valid method, and we care that I mean the policy. Okay. So I assume if I have one of these, can I call like start or something on it? Does chat know what the method's called? Do I gotta look it up? Oh, gotta look it up. So far over to this tab here. First and or begin. Turns the object that defines the beginning of the range. Cool. Opposite of begin is last or max. Are they different? Last. Okay. Begin and last. So begin, first. Yeah, let's use first and last. First and last seems like the sensible one. I don't know why I was using start. I guess it's a range. It feels like it has a start, not a. It doesn't have a first. That's not how you say that. So our positions are the policy.range.first, policy.range.last, and we want to know if any of these any of those password, position equals policy letter, right? That look right to you chat? I think it looks right to me. Ooh, no. Nope, 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 nope. True, got false. Password is invalid, false, got true. Did I misread the instructions or? No zero index. Thank you, Jiggins. Off this. Yeah, let's get the off by ones in the chat. I had to do it. Yes. So where was I? So we mapped over policy dot range dot first, policy dot range dot last. Any position, password. This time, position +1. That's brutal. That's brutal. Fell right into that one, Hoth. Policy dot letter. And unmark my spec as pending. Because it will now pass. We think? We believe? No. No, 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 no. Begin and well, end is a keyword, so end can't be used. And as begin is also a keyword, which is probably why they don't use. I think first and last. I would assume that it actually just returns the values they were defined with, but the first definitely doesn't do anything, but any extra work, but so that failed. Should I reread each policy where 1 means the first character, 2 means the second one. Exactly one of these positions must contain the given letter. Other occurrences of the letter are irrelevant. Yeah, I feel like that's what I did. Yeah. What to do? I'm so close though. Might be worth rereading. Thank you, Hoth. There you go. It's an exercise in actually reading things. Skill I am obviously not very good at. So what Hoth was pointing out in the chat is that exactly one of these positions, not any of these positions. I just did it for any. So how do we write this then? We can start off the same way. Policy.range.first, policy range.last. Is there like a increment? So looking for an easy shorthand there. But okay, guess not. Dot count do position password equals policy.letter, and we want that to equal 1. double check that I did pend that before I headed up there, right? Yes. Don't look up. Why am I getting the opposite answers? This one is valid. This one is invalid. That's what I'm testing. Or I'm testing this one is invalid. How about those indexes though? Oh, boy. But yeah, get that off by 2 emoji up in here now. Jeez. Perfect. This is good. This is good. The content you're all here for. Jeff valid. All right. Policy dot range dot first. Policy dot range dot last. Excellent. Not the only one here. That makes me feel at least. Oh yes. If my if this turns into everyone sharing how they also struggled with the puzzles, as you watch me make the same mistakes you have, then I will call these streams successful. All right, policy range first, policy range last, count, position, password. This is all funny stuff too, because like I feel like if I wasn't trying to like not use my debugger and was trying to like drive everything with tests, this might be I might find these problems quicker. Policy range first, count 2. Now we're subtracting numbers. Policy.letter. That looks right. That looks right. Okay. All right. Does anyone want to volunteer any mistakes they've already identified that I've made? Tests all look good. It. Oh my god. Whew. It gets more and more exciting the like more tries you get into running this thing. Okay. Password class password 2. That the answer? Did we do it? Did we get there? Yes. Headphones are telling me that they've disconnected from something. Don't know what it is though. Thanks everyone for coming to day 2 of my Evander Code streaming. I will be back again tomorrow night. Oh no. No, please stop playing audio. Oh, my computer is like unusable under the CPU. Okay, well, mystery solved. It was my computer that my headphones have decided to unplug from. But anyway, thanks everyone for coming. I'll be back again tomorrow. Same time. Get started probably 1:45. We'll be doing the same thing. Trying to do this with mostly just like trying not to debug with pry as much as we can. I think, I don't know, might get tired of that, might have to do more pry, but that's fine. I think that's it. You know, follow me on Twitter, SuperGoodJared. Follow me or whatever on here. I'll be here till the 25th, or at least if I possibly can. Might miss a few nights, but I'll make up for them. See y'all later.